There's already one MPJ in the Mile High City. Is there room for two MPJs in the Mile High City? One on the court and one on the field. We're going to talk about Michael Penix Jr. today on the DNVR Broncos podcast, and there is room for one RK on this set today.
Oh, wow. Thank God. Thank God.
And one HC.
Yep, that's me.
And
not
one,
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, that's what's your middle name?
Actually, Richard.
HRC.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. No, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't go by my initials.
You should just go. You should say your middle name's Dick.
No, I did. That's what my grandpa went by. He went by Dick. Yeah.
Dick Chisholm.
Electric.
Yeah, it was electric. Yeah, maybe someday I might go by Dick.
Hank Dick.
Once I kind of once I kind of wear Henry down, wear Hank down, just Dick. Why not?
Hank Dick.
Hank Dick
Chisholm.
It sounds like a name for the internet.
I wonder when Dick became. So, like, obviously the name Dick came before, like, the word meant something else. But I wonder when that was.
You think the name Dick came before?
I mean, I have to. I mean, you don't see people walking around named Penis. Right? And for an obvious reason.
Penix.
You've got Virginia.
Actually, that reminds. I hadn't thought about this, but like 5 years ago when he was at Indiana, I thought his name was Penix.
I think a lot of people.
Yeah,
I think it probably is.
Oh wow, just a little PR
At some
change.
point in life, they changed it.
Yeah, like there's that guy who played basketball for Illinois a couple years ago, and his last name was spelled Cockburn, and they're like, it's pronounced Coburn. I'm like, no, it's not. It's definitely not. But I understand why you're saying that.
Right.
So, Dick began to mean penis because of the military men in the 1880s.
Really?
That's when that started become a thing. And then the 1960s.
Yeah.
I can dig in. Does
it explain via pictures?
there were no pictures. Thank goodness. Then 1960s is when people would be like, "You're a dick," and it'd be like, "You're the worst," you know. That was 60s.
But why are those two related?
I don't know. Goes into a whole other theory that I have, but that's long.
Oh, it's long.
Well, yeah, it is. It's a rabbit hole that you're not willing to take on today.
Real quick, before we go any further, I do want to shout out Alex Roberts in the chat. It's his birthday today.
Hey!
Yeah, he said best birthday present ever. RK being on the show.
Damn! Wow. And with that, Ryan has to leave the show now.
Okay.
No, Alex, happy birthday!
Happy birthday,
so
brother!
Pumped that you're rocking and rolling with us. I thought you here was gonna say none of this. Our mics have been muted this whole time, and none of this conversation was caught on.
That would be pretty
camera.
funny, honestly. Also, shout out to the first commenter. You can scroll up. Zuriel, who said, won't be on the live stream today, but giving a like for my boys.
Man, that's the ultimate MVP right
true
there.
Homie move.
Oh, I love it. Wow. And speaking of that, hit us with a thumbs up. The chat's already popping off right now. And speaking of the chat, stay tuned for next week. Got really exciting things
chat news
coming this way. Chat news, studio news.
Yep.
And this show will be the first to know.
Wow.
11 a.m.
That's
Monday.
Actually,
11 a.m. Monday. Yep.
Wow.
DNVR Broncos gets to debut.
Let's
go. Very
go.
cool thing coming
What
our
do you
way.
think the Rockies record is going to be on Monday?
Oh, Henry, I gave you credit. You're still wearing the hat right now.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like I said, if you're going to be embarrassed by 16-1, then why were you wearing the hat in the first place? Like, it's the Rockies. That's what they do. Like, that wasn't even that, like, abnormal of an outcome, I feel like. It's like, they're the Rockies.
I expect that at some point in the season, of course.
Yeah.
But the first game, what was it? The third inning, it's 15-1?
Yeah.
It's 16-1?
I mean, it was the most hits they've ever given up in an inning, most runs in an inning.
Think about this, though.
Runners on base in an inning. Oh, of course. That was terrible.
Think about this. Great night for the bullpen, except for that one guy. They shut him out for the rest of the game.
And it's one of those where it's like,
right.
that Molina guy,
And
I was
clearly
really
they're
excited
good.
about him.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, he actually made the roster, which we kind of knew because they'd have to cut him because he's only 22. It's his MLB debut. But then, like after it happens, you're like, they did get him in the Rule 5 draft, which meant that the Rays had him for a few years, but weren't willing to put him on the 40-man roster, and that's why he was available.
Yes.
And so, like, you see things like that, and then hindsight, you're like, well, maybe I shouldn't have been excited. But you see 22-year-old pitcher, opening day roster, like.
Last note on this. He leaves the game with a 1.62 ERA.
Yeah.
Which is actually
162.
Yep. That's the average runs he would give up if he were to pitch 9 innings.
Because he got 1 out and gave up 6 runs. So you can do the math.
But it's not the worst you can have.
No way.
The worst ERA you can have is infinity.
Which he was sitting on there for
No
a second.
outs?
Yeah, because if you don't get an out, then there's nothing to average it off of.
Yep.
Wait, no, but what would that actually be?
Well,
like
it's incalculable.
ER? So
They literally put a infinity symbol.
Way. Oh
It's
my
incalculable.
God.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So that was rough. Luckily, Kyle Freeland leaves the game with a sub 39 ERA, though. So,
All right.
you know,
Wait,
that was a little better.
Okay, along these lines, because this question popped into my head and it relates to Broncos, and it's very depressing. And serious question: what's worse, giving up 14 runs in an inning, maybe taking into
boy.
account
Here we
that
go.
it's the first game of the
Opening day
season,
We know where this
or
is going.
70 points in an NFL game?
It's 70.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just because, like in baseball, you play 162 games.
I was just going to say that.
Like at some point, like you don't expect ever to give up 14 runs in an inning, but like, you know, a lot crazy things happen. That's why you go to the games, because like something weird always happens because something has to happen.
Yeah.
With
There's-
football, I mean, nobody gives up 70.
And that's like,
fair.
like 7% of the season?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got
exactly.
embarrassed. So, like, I guess if the Rockies give that up like 10 more
Oh
times,
my
Yeah.
God.
They
it
could
would
have a
equal it.
winning record tomorrow night.
I have to say it was really sad. I guess this will officially be their last Rockies thing. I was watching with Spencer, who is, I believe, legitimately the biggest Rockies fan left in the
Yeah.
world. And he had the game on his laptop. So like we were at Golf League. We had we had March Madness on the screen, and then he had picture-in-picture Avs game and Rockies game on his laptop. And like, so I was like playing and watching March Madness, so I wasn't following really what was going on in that inning. I like saw it was like 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. I'm like, damn, that sucks. And then I look over and like all I see is just Spencer dragging the Avs screen to just be twice the size and just covering up the Rockies. I was like, oh God. And he just didn't say anything about it.
It was
It's
awful.
so sad. And I did the math. To your point. So yeah, the Broncos was like 7-8% of the season. That one inning in the Rocky season was 0.06% of the season.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
like way different
Yes.
in terms of the.
They could be 500 tomorrow morning.
All right.
You're right. Thank goodness for the Nuggets and Avs.
Let's forget about Kyle Freeland and talk about another lefty.
MPJ.
That took me too long.
Outstanding. Unbelievable. The best pro day of any quarterback. He absolutely lit it up yesterday when most of the Broncos contingent, at least the high people, were at Drake Mays watching him. Broncos did have a couple people at Michael Penix's pro day to see him just tear it up.
What a day. What a day. And let me start by saying I am normally team throwaway pro day.
Yeah.
Like just throw it as far as you can
Yeah.
down the field.
Like Joe Milton. My
Yeah.
God.
you have to go outside to throw it that far.
It's true.
That was so sad. We
Such
haven't
a
said
great-
that on the podcast.
Yeah.
Just real quick. The end of his pro day, Joe Milton's at Tennessee. They had everybody go outside for the last 2 throws so he wouldn't hit the ceiling, which is just incredible marketing.
It's great marketing.
Like
really
that's how
is,
you
yeah.
put on a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, some people like Henry get caught up in that, and they're like, man,
No,
I
I
need to
don't.
draft this
I know.
guy with the 5th overall
No,
pick.
no.
Where others are like, great marketing.
Oh, I don't want to draft him with the 5th overall pick, but I do want to draft him.
Yeah, see, I don't even want to draft him. It's RK who's the guy who wants to draft him.
Yeah, that's actually the only quarterback I want to draft. But
Except for Michael Penix Jr.
I would normally just say like pro day is way too scripted. It's way too easy to make it look good.
Yeah.
Throw it away.
Until you're Drake May.
But what was the official final time for Penix on the 40?
So because it was a pro day, not a combine, there's not like one official one.
Hand timed.
Came out between 4.51 and 4.57.
Well, I thought it was 4.46.
Yeah, I saw
I think
one
it's
that was in the
4.46.
4.4s.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I think maybe the first run, that's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I only saw in the 4.5s. But you could be right, too.
This is
So
why I
there
asked, because I was
a
confused
4.4.
by I saw so many different numbers out.
Yeah.
out
According to Jim Nagy, he had scouts that were there who said it was between a 4.51 and 4.57.
Interesting. Yeah, I think NFL tweeted. Wait, did they tweet 4.46? The aggregators credited the NFL for the video and said 4.46. There's a lot of 4.46 out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, in the 4.4s.
See what
Holy
the
shit.
top tweet that says 4.46. Okay, not Henry.
Henry
Harrison
actually
Glazer,
is like,
4.46.
Who?
Yeah, BR, like
Harrison.
Bleacher Report is saying 4.46.
Okay.
33rd team has
in the
4.46.
fours. All right.
Yeah.
Adam Brenneman.
Okay, sure.
He's a college football analyst
Shout out
and
AB.
entrepreneur.
Wow. Definitely can't trust that one then. He's
Wow.
ready to go on The Bachelor.
That's true. Anyways, 4.46, 4.51, I don't really care.
Yeah. Fast as hell.
Your biggest concern, in my opinion, about Penix is what the injuries have done to his athleticism.
Yep.
And the fact that he's able to go out there and run that fast after the injuries,
Yeah.
to me is certainly something that you just check down. You don't draft a guy off his pro day. You don't draft a guy off his combine. You draft a guy off of his film. But you cross-reference the film with the numbers that you're able to gather at these events. And if I were being honest, I would say that his Washington film would have told you, like, he lost a lot of speed.
He's immobile.
Yeah. He lost his speed from the injuries that he suffered at Indiana, because at Indiana, he was like running some zone read
Oh,
stuff
totally.
and getting
Yeah.
out there. And then you just didn't see that. And it was like, oh, that's a shame. He's no longer mobile, but he can still sling that thing. Well, I think what we learned is that Washington knew that their season rested on the health of Michael Penix and just said, like, hey, man, stop.
Yep.
And in the end, I think what you get out of it is a very well-rounded quarterback who has learned what it means to stay in the pocket and play from there, but also still has the ability to get out and run, which we know he's going to have to do at points in his NFL career. And so because of that, I actually buy the idea of his stock skyrocketing because of the pro day.
Totally. I mean, he just doesn't need to. Like, it just changes the way you think about him when you say, like, yeah, he's a pocket passer, but he's a pocket passer because he's so good at it, which we knew he was good at it, but so good that he doesn't even need to consider running. Like, he had 2 rush attempts in his first 6 games last year.
Crazy.
Went for 16 yards. Like, you just didn't run the football. And you look through and say, like, I don't know. So he runs a 4.46. Justin Fields, for example, 4.45. So imagine Justin Fields, but you just said, okay, Justin, you don't run. What do you have there? Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
But then you think of Michael Penix and say, okay, you can run like Justin Fields also. And that's just been, like, in the back pocket. Like, that's like your 5th pitch that, like, you just never even used.
Yep.
Like, that's just like some nasty slider or something that, like, oh, we're going through the order like the 3rd, 4th time. Like, you can break it out. Don't even need it. Like, it's pretty crazy to go through and compare. And I can't remember if I read these off. I don't think I did yesterday. But like Vince Young, 4.48. Marcus Mariota, 4.52. Colin Kaepernick, 4.53. Russ, 4.53. Cam Newton, 4.56.
Wait, who's even faster than the 4.46?
So there are 1, 2, 3. There are 4 quarterbacks since 2000 who have run faster at the combine.
Okay.
Michael Vick, 4.33.
Okay.
RG3, 4.33.
Okay.
Reggie McNeil.
4.33.
Yeah. Reggie McNeil, 4.4 flat.
Okay.
And Justin Fields, 4.45.
Holy
So that's
smokes.
like what we're talking about here,
Yeah.
which is, it just totally changes
the most
who he
electric
is.
runners at the quarterback position, maybe of all time.
And I mean, Justin
I can't
Fields.
believe that Robert Griffin matched Michael Vick.
Yeah, that's wild.
What about Lamar? Did
Yeah,
he not
what
run?
was Lamar?
He didn't run. But
Did
you
he
would
run at a
imagine.
pro day?
Oh, I can see
Smart
if he did.
for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Wow.
probably no reason, just like Jaden Daniels.
Or unless, gosh, for Lamar, would he have been like a top 10 pick?
Maybe.
If he would have done a 4.4 flat?
I think he could have.
Unofficial 4.34.
Oh, wow. I was going to
Holy
say, I feel like he
shit.
could have outrun Vic.
Yeah, but it looks like pro day. Yep. I mean, it's ridiculous.
So it's elite quarterback
Yep.
speed.
It
Yep.
is. And then you get into some of the stuff where he wears like that massive flak jacket.
Yep.
Yep.
Does that slow him down a little bit? And so game wise, he's actually not so fast.
Sure.
It's one of those things that like you still don't look at him and say like he should run, but say you're in the divisional round, the C's part in front of him. In those, like, there are situations that regardless of who you are or what your injury history is, you run the football.
Yeah.
I mean, the most extreme example being Super Bowl on the line, there's a clear path to the end zone, you take that.
Yeah.
Like, that's the obvious one. But then playoffs, like, third downs late in the season, like, the door just opens a little bit, and it reminds you just how good of a passer he is. He was so good, they didn't even need to break out 4.46 speed.
Yeah. And
didn't come up.
I love what you guys are saying. You're getting me excited for what he could be, specifically on the Broncos at dynamic electric, and I couldn't disagree with everything more. And
What?
I know I'm getting caught up
How?
in it, but I can't buy it at all. And I'll tell you why after I tell you about our friends over at Breckenridge
tease.
Brewery. Breck beers flowing at the DNVR Bar. What a time to be alive at the DNVR Bar playoffs. Right on our doorstep. The March Madness still rocking and rolling. So whether you're going to be at the bar, whether you're going to be at home tonight watching games or this weekend watching Nuggets, Avs, Rockies as well, if you still want to tune in since the season has 161 games left. Or, of course, March Madness, go to breckbrew.com to find their Breck beer locator where you can find it, where to get the closest Breck brew near to you, whether it's at a bar, whether it's at the DNVR bar, or whether it's at a liquor store. You can find it at breckbrew.com, the official craft beer of DNVR.
Also, go check out our friends over at Circa. I have to say, so it's the first ever adults-only casino and resort in Vegas.
I didn't know it was the first.
You don't realize that that's nice
Yeah.
until you go back to one that's not like that. And you're like, wow, it was nice and quiet at the
All
pool
these
at
freaking
Circa.
kids.
Like,
That's true.
all you heard was the music.
Yeah.
Some other things that you don't realize. When you go to Circa's Sportsbook, like we've been there so many times. I've been there like 6 times in the last 8 months, I think. So then I just like started thinking like, oh yeah, this is what a sportsbook is like.
Yep.
And then I went to an unnamed sportsbook that actually has like they're like one of the famous sports books that like has something you can download and bet even in Colorado.
It's supposed to be a good one.
Yes. And I was like, this is an insult to sports fans. Like, I have a bigger TV in my house than the biggest TV here.
Yeah.
And so then you go out to the pool and you're like, oh, could this be a normal pool? No, it's 100 times better than any other pool.
Incredible.
All of us that are here on this set that are listening to the show are sports fans.
Yep.
It is literally paradise for sports fans.
It's the Mecca.
It truly is the Mecca for sports fans, not just in Vegas, but anywhere. If you're looking to just get a getaway, you want to go watch March Madness, NFL playoffs, any of the big events where you're watching multiple games all at once, Circa's the place to go. And you can get 20% off your stay when you use the code DNVR20. So go check out our friends at Circa. And let me just throw on one more thing. We're doing the all dogs betting in the March Madness, which has been up and down. But we're up right now, I think, a little over 2 units.
Boom.
If it weren't for Circa Sportsbook, which has by far the best odds on the underdogs, like sometimes by like 25% better.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'd be up at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's because they set their own lines. Like, I mean, everybody sets their own lines, but they usually do it with computers. Circa just has like a group of guys who sit in the room and set all the lines. And because of that, they can make the margin so slim.
Yeah.
They also don't have any of those like gimmicks. So it's just like straight for real bettors.
Exactly.
I love it. So check them out.
Check them out.
And guys, I gotta say, I love everything you said about Michael Penix. I want to buy into it so much, but I can't because I would love to see Michael Penix be the runner that the athlete that he clearly is. Not taking anything away from what he did at his pro day. It's electric. I'd love to see that he's still that athlete. But when he tried to be that athlete as a football player, it got, 2 shoulder injuries, 2 knee injuries, and he did not finish a single season when he was a running type of quarterback. His body, and you can look at one injury and be like, okay, freak injury. 2, maybe. But once you get to 3 and 4, then you do think like injury prone. And all credit in the world to him. He was able to realize, and his coaches at Washington were able to realize, you can't play that way. And like you said, Ryan, he is the success of the team. He has to stay healthy for his team to have success. When he was healthy, Washington was elite. When he wasn't healthy, Indiana struggled, and they weren't a great team. So I'm not going to get caught up in this and be like, man, imagine what he could be. He's an excellent pocket passer. And now imagine if he can just bring that athleticism back. I can't do that in the NFL. I want him to be just as immobile as he was at Washington, or else I'm way too worried about him getting hurt. And he is going to be that important to the Broncos if he is their quarterback, where I can't risk it.
I just Season on the line, 3rd and 10. Sees part in front of him.
Okay, one run.
See?
You're talking one run, though?
Yeah, but that's the difference.
Yesterday's pro day doesn't change that for me.
What if Tom Brady could run off 15 yards?
I mean, it would be awesome. I love it.
What if Phillip Rivers could break a run?
It would be great for that one play, but that one play doesn't change anything about skyrocketing for me.
If Phillip Rivers had one more play per game, could he be a Super Bowl champion?
Maybe. Yep. How many rings would Tom have then?
Yeah, for real. I just look at it that way, and maybe that's the optimist's view of things. Is what if some of the best pocket passers we've ever seen also had an extra, arrow in their quiver?
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
the thing
that's
what
a quiver is. Yeah.
Wow.
And they just only had to use it when they needed it.
Yeah.
The only other thing, though, that worries me is he plays with the knee brace, and quarterbacks that play with knee braces can't slide.
It's true.
He actually,
was it
I
Peyton?
think one of his ACLs he tore on a slide.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not with a knee brace.
I don't know if he was wearing it.
Do you remember when Drew tried to slide
That was
with
Drew.
the,
Yeah.
Drew Lock tried to slide with the knee brace on, and it just dug in, and I thought he broke his every bone in his leg.
Did even more damage because of it.
But he ended up being fine, but it looked so bad. There was a giant gash out of the earth.
Yeah.
And Drew was on the ground holding his knee, and I was just
oh my God.
That's the one thing I worry about is because I do imagine okay, they want to go man coverage. You spread it out, running backs on a wheel. The linebackers have their back to the quarterback. The middle of it opens, just such an easy first down for a quarterback that has that type of mobility. But I'm also just well, how does he get down safely?
He literally crawls onto the ground.
It's like the Peyton Manning self-sack, but 10 yards down the field.
Yep. And you're not calling read options or anything, but I do think just having that option in big games, it just makes him a better big game quarterback. When you get to the playoffs, the fact that is a possibility. You can open that door, just opens up so many things. I love him. I'm at the point where, get 2 firsts for Penix, I'm in. Ooh. I don't think you'd have to do it, but I mean, to me, he's behind Jaden Daniels, I think.
And Caleb?
Yeah, and behind Caleb.
But ahead of JJ.
Yeah, I'd take him over JJ McCarthy. I'd take him over Drake May. I'd take him over any of those guys.
I actually have him above Jaden Daniels.
So you're number 2?
I think that's fair.
Yeah, he's QB2 for me.
Well, Todd typically sits in that seat, and you're filling it just perfectly.
Great. Yeah. I mean, he's the best passer.
That's the thing.
Even better than Caleb.
My only thing...
At just passing the football.
But then, Caleb,
very important.
runs backwards 15 yards and rips one, and you're like, holy shit.
And that's something that has become incredibly valuable in today's NFL.
Caleb is more magical.
That's why Caleb's number 1.
Yeah.
Caleb's magical.
The biggest question mark that I have with Penix isn't his health, because he can win from the pocket. You don't need him to run. I'm not even that worried about his medicals now, because he can win from the pocket and isn't relying on his legs to win. It is just throwing in the middle of the field, which he wasn't asked to do much. So I'm not saying that he can't do it. But when you have tremendous outside receivers like they did, they really relied on those outside receivers. So he threw it outside and deep a lot. He did not throw it in the middle of the field a lot. And there were some times when he did when it was concerning. So that's my biggest question, because Russ did not throw in the middle of the field, and Sean Payton couldn't stand it. So is Michael Penix a guy, and this is the toughest part of evaluating quarterbacks, is it because he can't do it, is why they didn't do it at Washington? Or is it because they just didn't need to? Because he didn't do it in college, you can't say that he can't do it. So that's something Sean needs to learn behind the scenes. Because if he can't throw in the middle of the field or it is a significant drop-off, then honestly, you don't even draft him with a third-round pick if that's that big of an issue. But if he can throw in the middle of the field, they just didn't want to, oh my goodness, this is a guy that you draft at 12, which I don't even think you need to give up 2 first-round picks. You draft at 12, and you are thrilled.
Yeah. It's interesting, the whole middle of the field thing, because all of his skills tell you that he should be great there.
Yeah.
Super
And the numbers
strong
back it up,
arm,
too.
super accurate. Like, all of those things add up to a player who would be good there.
Yeah.
But there's also just, like, everyone's wired differently. Like, he might just not be comfortable throwing it there for whatever reason. He doesn't see it as well. I have no idea. But you're right. It's something that the Broncos have to find out from behind the scenes before they make that move.
Yep. So the Broncos last year had 231 passes between the numbers and 230 outside. Penix was at 264 inside and 253 outside. So pretty similar, a little more inside. But then when you look, so we'll throw out everything behind the line of scrimmage. You got like 20 yards and deeper, 10 yards and deeper, and line of scrimmage to 10 yards. And you got outside numbers, inside the numbers. So the spot on the field he was the best at was 10 to 20 yards downfield, middle of the field. 118 passer rating. Next best was 20-plus yards down the field, up the middle, and that's 114 passer rating. And then 10 to 20 to the right, 112 rating. And then it'd be 0 to 10 to the right, 107.7, 0 to 10 in the middle, 107.5. So, like, three of the five best zones are up the middle. And so I do think, like, the numbers right there make you think that he is good, but just for some reason he wasn't asked to do it all that much.
Right. Yeah, it's fascinating.
I mean, it's like this happens with basketball prospects all the time. Like, Karl Anthony Towns has always been good at shooting threes.
Yeah.
They just never asked him to do it at Kentucky.
Right. Yeah. If, though, he passes that test in Sean's eyes, there's no reason that he is not a fantastic pick at 12.
Who do you guys think has the highest floor of the quarterbacks?
The highest floor.
Because I think it's Penix.
Jaden Daniels is Jaden Daniels at the. If everything goes horribly, he's Justin Fields, and people still like Justin Fields.
To the tune of a 6th-round pick? Like, they don't really like him.
I mean, like, but
What's the age difference between Justin Fields and Jaden Daniels?
that's interesting. Yeah,
2 years probably?
they actually might be the same age.
That's what I was getting at.
They
It's
might be.
possible they're really
That
close.
is wild.
Caleb Williams. There's so much chaos involved that it could just not work. Like that could be Zach Wilson.
I'm sorry to my CHGO friends. My biggest fear about Caleb Williams is he's going to the Bears.
Also true.
My biggest fear about Caleb Williams isn't his personality when it comes to just things that people are losing their mind about right now, like just liking the color pink. I don't care about that. My biggest fear is he going to walk into that locker room and think he is hot shit and treat the other players like he is hot shit? Because that works at USC. When you're the 5-star recruit and you are Lincoln Riley's quarterback, you don't need to earn the respect of the juniors and seniors. That will not work in the NFL, and that will tear him apart.
I don't think he's going to do that.
Jaden Daniels is 23. Justin Fields is 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
2-year difference.
Yeah. Drake might just not be an
Lowest
NFL
floor,
quarterback.
I think.
Yeah.
I think he's the lowest floor.
Like you got a lot of projection.
I think he might
Bo
also
Nix,
have the
though.
lowest ceiling.
Maybe Bo Nix also very low floor. Like if you just take him out of an RPO system and it just doesn't work, like it could look disgusting.
I think J.J. McCarthy has a pretty high floor.
Yes.
If you sit him a year, I'd agree. But
Because
if you put him out there right away,
he
it's
also
risky.
fits right into that category of what is he good at that he wasn't asked to do.
100%. I mean, he has the most question marks of anyone, which is exciting. It's also nerve-wracking.
I think with J.J. McCarthy, the appeal is that there's nothing he's bad at. He he's solid at everything, but he hasn't really shown that there's like anything that you're like, oh yeah, good thing he does that. Yeah, I wonder if that, but if that bar for everything is below like NFL quarterback bar, it could just not work.
He was what, like 2 miles per hour behind Joe Milton?
Yes, that was pretty crazy.
Which is like
shocking.
I don't know if I've ever even watched that part of the combine.
No, I didn't even know that was a thing until this year.
It
might not have been.
When Joe Milton's throwing it like, 75 miles an hour or something like that?
Yeah, I forget exactly what the numbers were.
It was insane.
Like 63 maybe.
All I know is then I saw JJ McCarthy. I was like, only 2 less?
That was kind of the big takeaway there. So yeah, McCarthy, who knows?
He might have a great arm.
Drake may.
Like that might be his thing of like, that's what he's so good at. I just think he was only asked to be Ryan Tannehill in college.
Yep.
But Bo Nix was, I don't even know. He wasn't even, there's no NFL call for what he was asked to be. He was asked to be, I don't even know. He wasn't asked to be a quarterback.
No,
barely.
Bo Nix was asked to do a ton
little
of
RPO boy.
Small things. Yeah. But it's the opposite because JJ McCarthy was asked to do like nothing, but to JJ McCarthy's credit, when they needed him to do something, he did it. I mean, 27-1 as a starting quarterback in a major conference is insane. And unfortunately, what's burned into my mind is in the college football semifinal championship game against Alabama, they needed a 98-yard touchdown drive in the final 2 minutes of the game to tie it up and go into overtime. The stage couldn't have been bigger. And he did exactly that. He drove him down. He was as cool as a cat against not an elite defense, but a good defense. So the very few times he was asked to do something, he did it. Yeah. Now, he did have the best offensive line, just like Michael Penix. I think Michigan's offensive line was named the best in college football 2 years ago. Washington's was named the best offensive line in college this past year. He obviously had a great running game as well, so he definitely had talent around him, too. Just like Penix did, just like Jaden Daniels did, just like Caleb Williams did, just like Bo Nix did. Drake May is the guy who didn't actually have elite weapons around him, so maybe we need to give him credit for that. There's one more thing.
Wait, who?
Drake May.
Drake May, yeah.
There's one more thing that I want to mention about Michael Penix Jr. after I tell you about our friends over at Circle K. You got to download the Inner Circle app. There's a Circle K right around here. There's a Circle K 2 blocks away from my house. There's Circle Ks everywhere you go. And everyone has to get gas. 25 cents off per gallon for the first 5 fill-ups you're going to get when you download the Inner Circle app. And I guess not everyone needs gas, but everyone could use a snack or a Polar Pop, and you're going to get your first 5 Polar Pops for free when you have the Inner Circle app, and you're going to get every 6th item free, such as pizzas, roller grills, dispensed beverages, donuts, and so much more when you have that Inner Circle app. And if you just want a straight-up free Polar Pop, text DNVR to 31310. That's DNVR to 31310. We love Circle K. They're just handing out free things to you left and right. So scan the QR code on our screen or go to circlek.com/innercircle for more information.
And go to American Financing because they are a Colorado company, but they are licensed to practice in all 50 states. So regardless of where you're listening from, you can go talk with them. If you decide to talk with them, you can save a bunch of money because most people who say or use them save about $10,000 a year on average. They'll give you a free 10-minute consultation, no obligation phone call. Right now, mortgage rates are starting to come down. They can help you get into a home for as little as $1,000 down. It's a good time, and American Financing can get you a pre-approval letter in 24 hours or less. Their job is to save you money. They're all salary-based. They're not trying to upsell you. They've been doing this for 25 years, so call American Financing. All it takes is a 10-minute, no-obligation phone call today. It'll get you the best investment you can make in Colorado, which is a home. Call today. Tell them DNVR sent you at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or go to americanfinancing.net/DNVR.
Okay, I don't know how to ask this without sounding absolutely ridiculous, but I want to tie a bow on this Michael Penix Jr., give him the credit he deserves. In terms of combine and pro days, what is a BJ? Yeah, I don't know how else to ask.
I don't know. Who said that?
Give us the full context.
Who said yes?
There's not much. Okay, so a VJ is not a Vance Joseph. It's a vertical jump.
Broad jump.
Broad jump. There we go.
There we go.
The best way you could have phrased that.
There we go.
Okay, so
A better way you could have said is if VJ is vertical jump, what is BJ?
That's true. Yes. I could have just dove right in and said, what is a BJ, guys? Help
It's
me
like,
out
damn,
here.
he ran a 4.46 and got a BJ.
Wow.
He got a 10.5 BJ.
Wow.
Wow.
That is really impressive. So we mentioned how his 40 time, not just insane for this year's quarterback class, but insane for any quarterback class. He also had the best vertical jump of any quarterback in this draft at a 36.5, and he also had the best broad jump at 10.5 of any quarterback in this draft. And credit to him, he was the only quarterback to run a 40-yard dash among the big six in this draft. So, he's proven it. There were questions about his physical. He passed all the medicals, and then he was the only one to just do everything, too.
Has there ever been someone who was an elite athlete who also profiled as an elite pocket passer?
Jaden Daniels. But that's it. Yeah, that's the only list. That's it.
Yeah. Because everyone said Lamar Jackson's such a good athlete, he should play wide receiver.
Yeah.
Like, it was so offensive to his passing.
Yeah.
So to your point, And Josh Allen, just like a bulldozer of a human as a runner coming out. But like
4.78 40 time.
4.7. Wow.
Crazy.
And then also like 52% completion at Wyoming or something like that. So not the pocket
and
passer.
JUCO 46%.
Oof. Wow.
JUCO. Yeah.
Credit
kinda
to Josh
crazy that
Allen
he
for turning
fixed
that
that.
around.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This might be one of those ones that's like, don't overthink it.
It very well could be. And how often does that happen in the NFL where it's overthought?
And the reason why injuries scare you is because what they take away, presumably, from athleticism.
Yep.
He clearly hasn't lost any explosion. Like the speed, the foot speed is impressive when it comes to recovering from a knee injury.
Yeah.
But broad jump is literally how much force can you create with your knees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
With your
BJs
legs.
and knees?
Well,
I don't know, man.
It's a really good point.
I don't know, man. He might be the guy.
It brings me back to something that Sean Payton said. He said, a lot of people aren't good at this, and I'm happy that we're going to be good at this. And I think what he's referring to is what you pointed to, just overthinking things. And Sean has also said he threw Jamarcus Russell under the bus this week by saying people just get caught up in these pro days and combine of who can throw it far without saying it. I think he was directing that at Henry's guy, Ryan's guy, Joe Milton, of just like, how ridiculous is this? Football's over, and then we just see who can throw it the farthest. You get caught up and you draft Jamarcus Russell. And I think what he's saying is, I just want to draft a good player at quarterback who we've seen be good at quarterback. Michael Penix Jr., only two guys in college football have thrown for 4,500 yards or more in back-to-back seasons. Michael Penix Jr. and Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
Pretty damn good company.
Can I just explain my Joe Milton take really quick?
Yeah.
So I have been on board with the Broncos not drafting a quarterback this year. Because I don't think they're putting that quarterback into a good situation.
Yep.
And I think they're low enough in the draft that it could result in them reaching to essentially try and get a quarterback just to give the fans something to have hope around. And I actually understand the thought process behind that, but it can lead to you making a bad decision.
Yeah.
So my whole thing has been just take it in the teeth this year. Like, you're going to suck. Start Jarrett Stidham, and then have a high pick to have your pick of whoever you want at quarterback next year. If it were me, it would be Shedeur. So, why not, though, just take the ultimate gamble on tools and draft Joe Milton on day 3, maybe late day 2, depending on, I have no idea where he's being projected right now.
Probably day 3.
Yeah. Why not draft him on day 3? Just have him in the building and just see, can Sean Payton teach this man how to use the incredible gift he has, which is like an all-time great arm.
Exactly. And that's where, like, if you want a great quarterback, and it sounds like Sean might just want somebody who's reasonable. Like, you need a freak athlete. You need a freak if you want to have, like, a great quarterback. Like, you look in the league, top 3 quarterbacks, probably Mahomes, Lamar, and Josh Allen. 2 freaky arms and a pair of freaky legs. Those are the guys who break the league.
Joe Burrow, he's right in that conversation too.
I'm not a Burrow guy
he's
myself.
Right. Burrow has to be there with Josh Allen. If you're talking about it, and he's not a freaky athlete. And I think you look historically, and obviously you're looking at the greats: Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. Not that
Brady had a big arm though. That guy had a rifle. Not when he came out, but that thing by the end was
not a
massive.
freaky athlete when he.
No. I disagree there.
He had a very, very good arm. I don't know if it would be described as freaky.
Drew Brees also, and I mean that's just the
Big
closest. Ben. I do think that Sean cares way more about the mental than anything physical, and I think that's again what I was saying about. I think he thinks a lot of people in the NFL get caught up with the physicals, and he laughs at those people. So I totally see what you're saying. I think that's something some team is going to do with Joe Milton. I just don't think that lines up at all with the way Sean views a quarterback.
Yeah, and like I just think that might be an indictment on Sean.
Yeah,
That's fair. Also, one more thing. Do you think?
And I'm being a little bit facetious there. The main point is like I want Sean Payton to be like, I can fix him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You want that confidence.
Yeah, that's the confidence I want to see.
So I totally understand your point that you said at first about.
If I can fix them, that's where you get into abusive relationships. You don't want that with the Broncos, right?
But
Like,
this
you
is
have, like, that,
this
I
is
can
like a
fix them.
low risk.
Like,
This is like a low risk relationship. Like, if you learn that you can't fix them, then you just get a better relationship next year.
It's true. It's like a rental. You're dating.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, I really, really hate the idea that next year's quarterback class is weak. Because I think there's 3 strong prospects right now, at least.
Who are your 3 then?
Shador,
Okay.
Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers.
Okay.
I mean, Quinn Ewers would have been what, like a day 3 pick this year though? Day 2 if he'd come out.
I don't know.
Like that. I don't know. I think this year was the much stronger class. Like just because we knew coming into
what
it.
I
like,
was going to get at though
Yeah.
is that usually around this time of year, next year's class is not viewed in a great light. Like no one was talking about
true.
Michael Penix Jr. last year.
No,
at this time.
but we were talking about Drake May and Caleb Williams,
And Drake May
fell
kinda
off.
sucks.
Exactly, but there's not even like you're not starting from the high point, you know.
You were
Like,
talking about it was Caleb, and then people were like, and don't forget about Drake.
Exactly.
Right.
And then he wasn't even good.
So
Definitely.
it went from 2 last year that we
So-
were talking about for this draft to 5 or 6.
Yeah,
and
so that's
now-
all I'm
yeah,
saying is
right,
give it
right.
time to play out. Like
Yeah.
once Shador throws for 4,500 yards, the Buffs go 12-0, and they win the national championship. Like people are going to be thinking about him differently.
Wouldn't it be like 15-0 with the expanded
Well, yeah,
playoffs?
12-0 in regular
season.
Yeah.
But they would
What's
get
a
a
touchdown
bye
to
in the
interception
first.
ratio?
Oh, he's not throwing a pick.
Well, he
That's a good point. I was wanting to see if Ryan was going to put any picks on his plate.
27-3 last year.
Okay.
With a terrible offensive line.
Yep.
So
That's
I'm
true.
thinking like 40-2.
Wow.
2 interceptions, huh?
Balls
Ryan
get
thinks he
deflected.
sucks,
Wow.
man. Ryan thinks he sucks.
Wow.
Only one of the 3 was his fault last year.
Because
Really?
deflections?
Yeah, and drops.
Wow.
Wow.
What was the bad one? What game?
The Stanford game in double overtime.
Yeah. Damn.
Yes.
Can't undraftable, Ryan. Undraftable, man, when it matters the most.
Yeah, it was actually
that's insane.
It's
though.
kind of crazy, but like that was legitimately you could make a decision. You could make an argument that was the only bad decision he made all season,
That is wild. That is insane.
other than like running around and getting sacked.
Right.
But
right,
that's
right.
just like hero ball when
Right.
you're trying to save your team.
when you have an awful offensive line, which he did.
But when it comes to like the ball leaving his hands, he was the only one that like as soon as it left his hands, I was like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
That was a bad one.
but he also had some clutch things. Yeah, I mean, tank for 2 is really going to be a conversation. Hopefully not in Denver this year. But I don't know.
So.
That's why I paused for so long.
Now, look, that doesn't mean I'm out on Penix. I'm just kind of out on the idea of trading up to get the 3rd or 4th highest drafted quarterback.
And that's why I do think Penix, even after yesterday, remember, and the headline of this is, has his stock skyrocketed. Teams love this stuff. there are teams that are going to bite for this stuff. But he was a second-round pick. Some people thought he was a third-round pick going into yesterday in this offseason. So if he skyrocketed up, he's now a first-round pick. So I still think you can get him at 12.
Yeah, you'd think so.
If he's there at 12, I will be saying pick him.
Yep.
So as much as I've been saying, like, I don't know if it's the best idea to draft a quarterback this year, it's because I don't want them to force something. But I am in enough on Penix that if you just sit there at 12 and he's there, I'll be saying take him.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you know what? Worst thing, he doesn't pan out. The team's awful. You do a Josh Rosen, and you know when to cut bait. You don't do a Paxton Lynch, and you hold on to him for maybe an extra year, and then you don't even look at Patrick Mahomes in the draft because, you have this guy who you drafted last year. No, you do what the Cardinals did. It hasn't fully worked out for them because Kyler hasn't been an MVP guy yet, but it's been a lot better having him than Josh Rosen.
Yep. And speaking of Josh Rosen, that's the last time we were talking about like this historically great quarterbacks class.
Yeah.
It was Baker Mayfield, right?
Yep.
It was Sam Darnold.
Yep.
It was Josh Rosen.
Yep.
It was Josh Allen,
Yep.
and it was Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
So maybe pick those. Fourth and fifth were the ones that ended up being good. And then what was it? The year before that with Mitch Trubisky and then Patrick Mahomes.
Mitch Trubisky at someone else was
Deshaun
Watson.
Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
And that was considered a bad quarterback class.
Yep. So, and another thing Sean has just continued to kind of warn people is 5 or 6 quarterbacks are going to be taken in the first round in this draft. And he keeps reminding people only 1 or 2 are going to pan out. And he hasn't said this word for word, but he has hinted at, like, it's not the first 2 that are taken that are the ones that pan out. You just have to identify the right guy among those 4 or 5. And Ryan, you pinpoint it perfectly. Patrick Mahomes, the third quarterback taken. He was the best. Paxton Lynch, the third quarterback taken. He was historically awful. And then Lamar Jackson, the 5th quarterback taken at pick number 32, who was the best or close with Josh Allen.
And this goes into the point that pretty much the most important thing in getting a quarterback in the draft is luck. You have to get a little bit lucky. But I would like to point out that historically, the higher a player is selected, the higher chance they have of succeeding.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're playing a numbers game a little bit by taking the 4th or 5th quarterback selected. Your chance of hitting is lower just based on history, but it doesn't mean it's never happened because a lot of it has luck involved.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. That is interesting. I'd be curious to go back because, I wonder, like 2017, like you said, Trubisky goes before Mahomes. It feels like it's closer to 50-50 in terms of like where you're drafted. It's like 2018, Baker, Darnold, Allen, Rosen, Jackson. That one balances out. Murray, Daniel Jones, Haskins.
What I'm saying is I don't know if it was delineated by All-Pro or Pro Bowl or Hall of Fame, but if you like hash it out by what pick they were taking and how many have, like, number 1's the most.
You would think.
Right.
I mean, yes, definitely. But like last 10 years, things have been a little bit weird.
You look at the
like
Trevor
the number 1
Lawrence
picks
draft.
haven't been electric. Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence not electric, but the only one that's still on his current team.
Yep.
The only one that's going to be a starter, which is insane.
Yeah.
Speaking of all-time drafts, that was supposed to be an all-time quarterback draft.
Yep.
Or no, wait, no, it wasn't.
And this is why
just Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be an
So
all-time.
I'm not okay with
that
throwing
was
around
supposed to be a good
generational.
draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you had quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3 that year, which is that never happens.
Right.
I mean, that was the second time in history that happened.
Who were the 3?
Lawrence, Wilson, Trey Lance.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Like historically awful 1, 2, 3 at the quarterback position.
I mean, it's only the second
And
time
that's
it
like-
ever happened.
That's like
Yeah.
okay.
Historic.
Yeah.
That's okay. Trash. Never even a full-time starter.
Yep.
You can't even call him trash.
Exactly.
Yeah, like we don't even know. We haven't seen him play.
Exactly.
No. Wow, that is wild. And then this year, we could absolutely see 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks again.
Yeah.
We might even see 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think somebody's going to fall. This just feels like it's set up perfectly for somebody to fall. Like, we haven't had a good draft day fall
It's
in a while.
not going to be J.J. McCarthy anymore.
I don't
I'm
think
very
so. I think
confident
I think Drake May might actually be a slip, and it's not going to be like the Aaron Rodgers type slip when everybody's like, "Oh, he's a top 10 pick," and he goes in the 20s. But this It's rare that you see quarterbacks move up the board like this and stay.
If Drake May is the last one of these quarterbacks on the board when the Broncos are selecting, I'm going to be hyperventilating.
George Payton, Darren Mugie, the assistant GM, the offensive coordinator, Sean's right-hand man, Pete Carmichael from the Saints. They were all at Drake May's pro day.
That's
and only like an assistant scout and the pass game coordinator and like a regional scout were at Michael Penix's pro day. But the Broncos
That's how you bluff.
That's true. The
That's
Broncos
a big sign
are
for
having a
Penix.
pre-draft meeting with Michael Penix Jr., which that shouldn't be like news. They should have a pre-draft meeting with all of these top six quarterbacks, just like they met with all of these top six quarterbacks at the Combine.
The worst part of this is I made a pledge a couple of years ago that I wouldn't say that like I hate any quarterback prospects because it's just so random and you just have a high chance of looking stupid. But I'm having a hard time shaking it when it comes to Drake May.
I gotta say, we as a show, including Todd, were way at the head of the curve with Drake May. When he was going number 2, none of us were buying. None of us were buying it. So, well, Friday pat on the back for us, and we've all been pretty damn high on.
Should have made
Penix
bets.
too.
He might end up being the best one. Like that's how random this all is.
He could. Yep. JJ McCarthy, really quick. The Ringer dropped their mock draft yesterday. JJ McCarthy slipped to 12 to the Broncos. That's who they had the Broncos taking. I agree with you, though, Ryan. I think it is so much more likely that J.J. McCarthy is the second overall pick in the draft than he is to falling to 12.
If you, this is stupid, but like, whenever there's like an all-American boy quarterback, they always rise up.
He's got the hair for it, too, man.
He's the Michigan quarterback. He played with Harbaugh. He's got the smile and the hair. Like, teams can't help themselves.
Yep. He's doing the meditating before games. It gives me a lot of, what's the football movie? I actually really like this football movie. Remember the Titans.
Oh, yeah. Sunshine?
Yes, Sunshine. Gives a lot of those vibes. Just so lovable.
That's what I mean. Teams can't help themselves.
Yep, you're right. You are right.
It's kind of crazy. Just pulling up Michael Penix. Mock Draftable does their like most similar prospects based on height, weight, hand size, like all that sort of stuff. Most similar athlete, 99% match.
For who?
For Michael Penix Jr. Who would you have?
Based off physical tools?
All the physicals.
Including speed and
Is
stuff?
it at his position?
It's Najee Harris.
Oh, my God.
No way.
Yeah.
The size, no, though.
I mean, 216, right? 216. Najee would have been like 222. Height-wise, they'd be about the same.
How tall is Najee? They are the same?
I mean, Penix 6'2" and a quarter. Najee's a big back.
They are built so... That's exactly why. Najee is a big back.
Yeah.
Michael Penix, the lower half is like just not...
But this is like the Von Miller, Derrick Henry thing.
It is. That's awesome.
That is wild. Oh, my God.
Najee Harris is 6'1".
6'1"? Okay.
Wow.
So, yeah,
What was his 40 time? I wonder if it was
stout.
probably about the same. I mean, 4.46, it's got to be.
You know Najee Harris, how good of a running, or how bad of a running back is Najee Harris?
It was a 4.46, 4.45.
4.45. There we go.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, that's what you're getting. Najee Harris, a quarterback.
Would you say Najee Harris is good or bad? Like, where would you classify him?
He looked really good as a rookie.
At moment,
but he hasn't been good since.
There's just no. He just seems like he's too slow to matter. Like you can put him in there and
4.46.
Yeah, but the way he moves when you watch him,
it's
like
the lateral quickness that he doesn't have.
Like when you draft somebody that high, you just need him to be explosive, and he's not explosive. Like he can go get you 4 yards per carry, but you're not going to enjoy it.
Well, that's exactly what he does. I was blown away when I realized he's been in the NFL for 3 seasons, 1,000-yard seasons from a runner, all 3 seasons. It's wild because I mean a lot of people are like, Pittsburgh needs to move off from him. And it's like, well, 1,000 yards back to back seasons, pretty good.
I guess I'll put it this way: if the Broncos are playing the Steelers, I wouldn't be like, oh, you got to be worried about Najee Harris today.
Yep. You worried about Russell Wilson playing against him when they do that, or is it going to be Justin Fields?
No, I am worried because it's going to be week 1.
Yep.
And like every week 1 is weird for the Broncos.
You're so right.
It's true.
You're so right.
It's gonna be stupid. Whatever happens, it's gonna be dumb.
At least it's going to be here. I guess the Raiders was here last year.
Yeah.
But I think of the really weird one, obviously the Seahawks. That was in Seattle.
All of like the cool things we used to have are all dead. Like it used to be like the Broncos never lose at home in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's the Russell Wilson game has to be on primetime. Like, I don't think there's any way around that from an NFL perspective.
It's Monday Night Football week 1.
I think it has to be because
Or even Sunday night.
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like they saved Sunday night for like
Didn't they stop doing the
great.
week 1 Monday Night doubleheader last year?
they did.
Now it was week 2,
Which is weird.
Which
Yeah.
is very weird.
But you definitely like the debut makes the most sense.
Oh, for sure.
Like
Because
like
that's
week
when the
1
hype's gonna be the
primetime
biggest.
makes
And it's
It has to be the favorite.
maybe they could go back to it because it's a perfect second Monday night game.
You can
It
turn
is.
it off if it sucks.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, you get to watch the first like half hour where you're like, oh, weird, Russ is in that uniform, strange, and then you're like, oh, this is bad football, turn it off.
Yeah.
Then you get to build up all of the drama.
What if Jared Stidham's like 20 of 22 for 225 in the first half?
Or or they're both
I'll
going to have
eat
the
a shoe.
exact same stat line at the end of the game.
I can see the Zach Stevens tweet now, just doing crazy numbers.
Yeah, I think I might have learned my lesson last time with that. Okay, before we get out of here, let's update our March Madness bracket one more time because we just finished the first round.
Oh, yeah.
And so now we have, what is this? Our Elite Eight. We got Bo Nix going up against Dallas Turner. And let's dive into this matchup. This is the 16 seed going up against the 8 seed. Who's a better football player? Take away quarterback value. Bo Nix or Dallas Turner?
That's a weird one. Because Dallas Turner is definitely more potential than...
You hate Bo
Like-
Nix.
Oh, yeah. But
So how
like,
is this a weird one?
well, we just saw him kind of ball out and complete 77% of his passes. Like, in terms of, like, just, like, what you are right now, it's pretty close. Because, again, Dallas Turner, like, 10 sacks is really good. So is, like, being in the Heisman conversation, you know?
I just don't understand how you are saying any good things about Bo when you...
Oh, it's just the ceiling. Like, it's just the potential. Like, he is what he is. He's not going to really get any better.
Why did Bo Nix beat Rome Odunze?
Well,
Because
that's what I'm
that's
saying.
the- 'cause the vote.
That's
The
why.
vote.
That's why I said take away quarterback.
Yeah.
Take
Yeah.
away quarterback value right here. So I'm not asking you who should win this. I'm just saying who's a better football player.
Dallas Turner.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Already
it's
day
Dallas
one?
Turner.
Eh?
I think so.
Okay.
Just football
I'm
player.
not... I don't think...
Henry's
Henry's
on Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, he can't
Am
even
I?
get into the mindset. So okay, now we'll do what this is actually about. Who would be a better draft pick?
Dallas Turner by a mile. I'm not touching Bo Nix.
I don't
I'm not touching
understand
Bo
this
Nix.
guy at all. I tried to help him here.
Who would be a better draft pick at 12?
Yeah.
Just this is bad or bad.
I'm just
Bad or
not...
bad?
I don't want a linebacker at 12.
See, I don't want Bo Nix anywhere. He's not on my board. I'm not touching Bo Nix.
So
That's where
Dallas
I'm
Turner
at.
by a mile.
Yes. Yes. Dallas Turner by a mile.
Dallas Turner's also 21 years old,
Exactly. Tools, though.
whereas Bo Nix is 24.
Exactly. It's a ceiling thing where it's
wild.
like
Yep.
day one, if
But
you
he-
need one of these guys to step in, it might just make more sense. Like Bo Nix in an offense versus Dallas Turner just getting
Why are
wiped
you
off the
doing
field.
the Bo Nix Devil's Advocate?
I don't think that's devil's advocate. Like we're talking about like one good player, one guy who has like a lot of potential, but like
He's the
could
devil
be kind
and you're
of
advocating.
Nick Bonito-y.
It's funny because people are gonna hate this, but whatever. I never thought about age in the draft
Yeah. Mhm.
before. I was just like, just draft the best player. Who cares? Once you start doing our Madden franchise,
When you can't really develop once they hit the age 25.
yes,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh man, I have 3 years of this guy before he's that guy. Like,
Yeah.
and that guy's a 78 overall right now, and this guy's a 71 overall. Like, I can get this guy to like a 91 by the time he's 24.
I wish I was good at Madden like that. I can't do that.
So I realize that's not what it's really like.
Yeah.
But I can understand how that gets into the minds of when you're making a draft pick. Like, if there's that big of a discrepancy in age, I understand why teams would say, like, use the age as a tiebreaker.
Right.
Now, obviously, these are two completely different positions to everything, but give me a 21-year-old over a 24-year-old who is questionable in many ways.
And we had our guy Baldy on the show this week, and he said the best player in this draft, non-quarterback, he said Dallas Turner.
Wow.
And you could legitimately get that. He might be the first defensive player drafted. You might get that at 12.
I kind of wonder if he forgot about the receivers. He never named a receiver. Like, as in the conversation.
Yeah.
Which was like, maybe he's just low on the
Maybe he
receivers.
doesn't see wide receivers as football players.
That could be. That could definitely
A former
be.
offensive lineman, I can see
Probably
it. I
hates
can
those
see
guys.
it. For me, positional value, unfortunately. If they're both there at 12, Bo Nix.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You want Bo Nix?
If they're both there at 12, quarterback, Nix. Yeah.
I can't take Nix.
That means you're picking like the 5th best quarterback with the 12th pick.
And I'm just rolling the dice that he's one of Sean's guys. I'm crossing my fingers, praying.
I would straight up, no matter the pick, rather pick Joe Milton than Bo Nix.
Oh
I'm kind of right there too.
Oh my
Bo
God,
Nix is
get
just not
outta
on.
here.
I'm not drafting Bo Nix regardless.
I gotta end this before
I'm just
you
not
guys say
drafting
anything
Bo Nix.
else. This is just
I'm not drafting him.
But we can end it because
The
we got a
ceiling is the
super chat
floor.
coming in from Jacob Weddle. You were just making the argument for Bo Nix. I'm so confused.
The floor. Dallas
Henry
Turner's,
does this.
Dallas Turner's a 21-year-old who is not ready for NFL football. He just isn't. Like, he's getting
The
wiped
Broncos
out.
aren't ready for NFL football either next year.
No, which is great, but like in terms of like which guys, right? Like again, like he's productive. You put him in a little RPO offense, you could put him out on the field and like you're not really gonna get anywhere, but you could go get your Gardner Minshew. You know, like he could go be that guy. Dallas Turner's just not ready. Like in the future, Dallas Turner is gonna be like an All-Pro type player. Bo Nix is still just going to be hopefully Gardner Minshew.
Also, I saw this Bo Nix clip and he was talking about what's the difference between playing in the SEC and playing in the Pac-12. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, like just the unnecessary pressure that you get by being a young quarterback in the SEC. I'm like, do you know the pressure that you're going to be under if you're a first-round pick?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. It's going to be way more than the SEC,
In Denver?
son. Yep. Where should he go? Jacksonville to be the third string to Mac Jones? Probably not a lot of pressure there.
I don't know. Maybe somewhere where they just don't like even care or watch football. San Diego. I mean, Los Angeles.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
He should go to San Diego.
He probably
no pressure there.
Pressure
Yeah,
there,
that's
no.
true. That's true.
Good beach vibe, too.
I know.
Yeah.
He would crush it in San Diego.
Yeah, no team.
Yeah.
No team. They don't even have a team.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll get like an XFL team.
Ooh.
Bo Nix would be really solid in the XFL.
Probably too much pressure there.
Maybe.
Gosh, too much pressure. I'm nervous about this
Great.
now.
Now
Oh,
I've
boy.
said I hated 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Breaking my own
It
rules.
was like you got to do it though. Like I hate Bo Nix. Honestly, Drake May's kind of in that category too, where it's like, if they draft him, you're gonna be like, hey, I mean, the guy has a lot of hype, but also, I don't really think it's gonna work. You know?
Yeah.
And if it was my draft board, would I just take him off the draft board? I might.
This is one of the first ones where we have had a split decision on
Yeah.
the show. So everyone go and vote over at DNVR_Broncos on Twitter X. It'll be put up in the next couple of hours, so check it out and vote there. We'll update the results on Monday. And before we get out of here, super chat coming in from Jacob Weddle, who says, Sean Payton kept Drew Brees healthy for 15 years after one of the nastiest shoulder injuries a quarterback can have. Who's to say he can't keep Penix protected?
Rare good point from a Nebraska fan.
Wow.
It's a great point, Jacob, because Drew Brees didn't run. That's how. And that's kind of plays into my exact point of if you draft Michael Penix, it's to be that pure pocket passer. Don't have him run.
Exactly.
That's a really good point.
And that's how he's built his team, is for pocket passer too. With like, I guess you lose Lloyd, but when you pay those guards, that's so that you can step up in the pocket. And Penix protects himself. Like he's the best at manipulating the pocket, finding space in the pocket. You give him those 2 guards, like the tackles can still come around the edge, but when you're stepping up like that, that angle is just so difficult. Unless you're Von Miller and you can just do like a 180 right there. Like it's built for somebody to play from the pocket, and Penix plays from the pocket perfectly.
Yep. Man, this is a perfect show. I loved it. Thanks for rocking and rolling with me.
Penix at 12 or Joe Milton in the 4th. Let's go.
Oh, man. In the 7th. You got a 6th round pick.
He's not going to be there in the 7th.
Yes, he was.
No,
6th round. Yes,
Joe
he was.
Milton?
Have you seen how far he can throw an orange?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. You got to go outside for that one. All right, that's going to do it. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Thank you so much for rolling with us.
We all silly like the mayor.